What's going on, guys? So today I'm going to be reviewing my new Grand Seiko. This is the SBGA011, also referred to as the Snowflake. So I figured we'd start off with the packaging because it came with its box and papers. I bought it pre-owned from a certified Grand Seiko dealer, but did luckily come with everything that came with the watch when it was originally purchased. So one thing that I think here is interesting, and I don't know if this is funny or just a really high attention to detail, but look at this. Please remove the sleeve before handing the merchandise to the purchaser. Thank you. Like, they're so concerned with how this is presented to the customer that, you know, they have to like tell the dealer what to do with that sleeve. I think it's hilarious, but I also think it's really cool that they know who they are and they know how they want to come off to their potential customers. So I actually have a lot of respect for that, and I just think it's a funny kind of simple way of saying, hey, take this off. So here's the outer box. It's got, you know, Grand Seiko in gold there. You probably won't be able to pick up on it in this video, but this is a super, super dark blue. That back there. Move this guy over here. So let's get this out. Got kind of a little micro tell of stuff here. So here's the inner box. I'll get to this in a second. We've got two things in here. You've got operating instructions here. That kind of fits back into the cubby. And then this is all my warranty stuff. So this has like the, you know, it's basically the papers for the watch. So I'm going to set this over here. And then we'll go to the inner box. So again, it kind of continues with that same dark blue color as the exterior box with the gold lettering. And pop it open. And then you've got the Grand Seiko in there. It looks like a lion, I think. A blue cushion, a couple extra links. And then you've got kind of your recessed area down in the middle of the box. So one thing that's interesting about this watch, which we might as well address now, is that it's titanium. And so, you know, you'd expect a high-end watch like this to be to contain, you know, screw links. But because the titanium and the way that the nature of it being a little bit softer than stainless, you know, they have to use these friction pins. And so it's not the most fun thing to size it, but I mean, it just took me like, you know, 2 minutes instead of 1 minute. So it's not a huge deal, but just figured I'd throw that out there because it is a little different, and you may not expect, or you may expect the screwed end links versus these friction pins. So here's the watch. It is 41 millimeters wide and 12.5 millimeters tall, excuse me. And what's cool about this is, you know, like I've had the cocktail time from Seiko before, the what is it? SARB, S-A-R-B 065, and I still own the SKX, and those have their proprietary non-sapphire crystal. And this is my first Seiko to actually have true sapphire on the front and the back. So that's pretty cool. You know, it's a common gripe from people that they either own Seikos or like Seikos or don't like Seikos, is that they don't use sapphire until you get up into the really high-end models. Well, here you go. And you can see it's really hard to get even any glare on that in realistic viewing angles. So, and then you've got the sapphire on the case back. And I mean, just look at that rotor on the back. How cool is that? So smooth. And then the bracelet here, you know, this is all titanium, and they have, I think it's a patented type of titanium, nickel free. So if you have any sort of allergies, you should be okay. But the way that they finish it is interesting. So this, to me, this still looks, when I wear this watch, it looks stainless steel to me. It does not look titanium. And I've had a titanium watch. I've had the Oris TT1, and that one looked titanium. It scratched. It had like a kind of like more of a matte look to it, and it was almost like a darker gray than really metallic like this one. This looks straight up stainless steel to me. The only way you know it's different when you're wearing it is because it's about 30% lighter than it should be if it were stainless. So it's not a subtle difference. It is a huge difference when you're wearing it. And just here, like it's ridiculously light. The buckle here has the GS on the bottom, 2 safety release buttons there, and you can either pop it back into place or you can, you know, hold the buttons and it'll lock back in for you. I love the alternating between, you know, the super polish in the middle there versus a little bit more brushed on the sides. I think it just, you know, for it being titanium, for them to have this much, you know, that big of a difference between the finishing, I think is just insane that they have that level of craftsmanship, that they can do that with titanium. So really, really cool. So why did I get this watch? You know, if you've watched my collection video before that I did last summer, you know, I've only added a few watches since then. And so most of my watches are sports watches. And, you know, I've got a chronograph here or there that could be argued that they're kind of dressy, or you could wear the sports watches as dressy watches. But I really wanted something that's, you know, could still take a lick every now and then, but it was more of a dress piece. And so obviously I was kind of looking at the Datejust, and then these kind of came across, or these kind of occurred to me. And so the thing with the Datejust, I guess, is I really would want to get the Jubilee. And for me, the Jubilee is super attention getting. And that's okay. I mean, it's just, I think for me right now, with work and stuff like that, if I'm going to be wearing this to work, I don't want to pull attention to something and then it be a Rolex. I would rather have my dress piece, or the piece that I'm going to be wearing to get dressed up, I'd rather have it be under the radar and have it be something a little bit more stealth. Not like in an obnoxious way. I don't think, I think with some people that I work around or with, I don't want to give off Rolex all the time. And that's just what I'm comfortable with. I've brought up the term comfort brand before. And just with certain people, Rolex is not my comfort brand. And so for this like filling this want for a dress piece, this is so cool for me, because I get to wear, you know, I get to basically spoil myself with one of the most technologically advanced watches made. Certainly, especially at this price point, you've got a movement that is plus or minus 1 second a day. So it's a 2-second variance, whereas a COSC certified or a certified chronometer, those can be less or minus 4 seconds and plus 6 seconds, and anywhere in between. So that's a 10-second range. So it's 5 times greater. So this is 5 times more stringent of a standard for this movement. So to be able to, you know, wear something like this, it's totally the reindeer. There's a big Seiko on the top. I mean, people would never really know. And I just think that that's so neat. It's kind of like my little secret, I guess, to have this kind of cool of a watch just kind of blend in. And to me, that's what this watch is. This is the ultimate blending in watch. I think the GS is like Grand Stealth or something like that. I mean, it blends in on your wrist, and that it's lightweight, and you don't really feel it. It doesn't have the feedback of like my Panerai 392, and, you know, kind of blends in the sense that it's a Seiko, and it's still a super great watch brand. But you know, how many people are going to know to look for the GS and know that it's not $300. It's you know, a $5,000 watch. I didn't pay that. I got it used for a really good deal, but you know what I'm talking about. So anyways, I wanted to go into some of the, you know, because some people, a lot of the other watch channels I watch that go into the you know, would I ever buy a Grand Seiko? No, they're kind of too analytical. They're too just like techie. There's not the romance or something. I'm like, yeah, that's all right. Like, yeah, I buy watches on feelings too, but this is so sweet. Like you really got to try one of these on. And I've been to some dealers in person that carry Grand Seiko, and they do say if you're a watch collector and you really, you know, you're not looking to make an investment in watches and that, you know, be your retirement, but if you're a collector and you want to have a Grand Seiko in your collection, this is going to be the one that they feel will be the most collectible, at least from like the current offerings. And so I thought that was pretty interesting, and it kind of made me want it even more to pull the trigger on it. So it's got the GS there on the crown too. Why don't we do some other stuff with the watch here? So the crown, let's unwind it here. And let's show you guys the power reserve. Hold on. So here, change the date, or excuse me, change the time. So here's the wind. It's a pretty high-pitched wind compared to other ones, but obviously the movement's a lot different than the other ones. And then you can see the power reserve right there. This is going to continue to go up as I'm adding power to the watch. And if we were to go all the way up, you'd have a 72-hour power reserve. So, pretty nice. Just gonna screw it back in there. And yeah, I want to show you guys the back too. So you can see all the finishing on there, all the different angles that they polished and cut in there. And what's cool about this movement too is, you know, you've got, obviously there's a mechanical aspect too, but there is also an electronic aspect of it as well. So it's, you know, it's kind of like some hybrid cars converting some of the gas combustion energy into electricity for whether it's, you know, the regenerative braking after it's accelerated or whatnot. But that's how this watch has become so accurate, is because of that, the movement and the synergy between the mechanical and the electronic. And there's no battery you have to change or anything like that, but there's just an aspect to it that you know, requires that conversion, and it's just neat. There is no tick, and there is hardly really, if I can't tell, any tick in the seconds hand. And that's one thing about this watch, is when you look down at this watch, I'd say out of the watches I have, when I check the timer, I just want to check it out really quick, this Speedmaster is probably the one that I look at the most. Whether it's, I think it's because it's got the domed you know, plastic glass. It's kind of got like this warped effect on it, and it's just kind of a little bit mesmerizing. This goes, I think, to the level of hypnotic, because not only do you have a weird dial in this matte, rough, you know, weird kind of cutaway dial that's no two are the same. You've got this kind of like seconds hand that puts you in a trance, because you're used to seconds hand with just a minor bit of lag and jolt to it, and this one just smoothly sweeps away with no sound. And this one, by far, since I've been wearing this now for about what, 3 weeks or a month now, off and on, like, you can't look away from this watch when you check the time. You just stare at it. It's obscene. It really is cool. And just going into like the seconds hand being blue and the dial being white, I mean, the contrast is so cool. And look at how sharp and the finish work on the hour hand and the second, or the hour hand and the minutes hand. I mean, it looks like a samurai sword or something. I mean, look at those things. I would not want to pick those up with my bare hands. They look sharp. I mean, really, really cool. I don't remember the name of the reference number, but a lot of people compare this Snowflake watch to one of the other Grand Seikos that doesn't have a power meter, doesn't have the Snowflake dial, anything like that. And that one, I think the main difference, I guess, would be the movement, the titanium versus the other one's steel, but the date window. And so I did want to point out the date window on this is super legible. It's the perfect size. You can see both digits perfectly well. Yeah, it's a super legible watch. You know, aside from there being no lume, so you're kind of out of luck in the nighttime. But other than that, it's super legible and just fun to tell time on because of all the intricacies of the dial. And you can check the time, watch the second hand just perfectly sweep. You can watch the power reserve go up or go down depending on what you're doing. And there's a lot of stuff to kind of keep track of on this thing, and that's what makes it, I think, so fun and different. I've really enjoyed this watch so much. It's brought something really new and different to my collection. So I really have to, you know, kind of applaud it for that. And so here we go with a wrist shot. As always, my wrist is 7 inches, pretty much right on the money. And I feel like it's a pretty good fit. I do like the way that my wife's 38mm date just fits. You know, it fits pretty much like a 40 because of the way the lugs are designed. This fits, I'd say, pretty much like just a standard 41, like my Seamaster kind of fits. There's no kind of crazy flared lugs or anything like that. It just fits it just fits, you know, nicely. You can see it's not super tall. It fits under dress shirts well, all that good stuff. So yeah, so that's pretty much the Snowflake. I think it was a really neat idea for them to kind of take where the factory is in Japan and kind of cue into their surroundings with the snowfall that they have, and try to design a watch with the unique qualities of, you know, the snow that's in that area, make it light like snowflakes are, and unique. Like I've heard that each of these dials is cut in a certain way that no two will ever be the same. So, I mean, that's, how cool is that? So definitely, if you're interested, I would definitely kind of look around. I think, you know, more and more there'll be some that come up used. Just make sure they don't have scratches, because I mean, I haven't had really any luck with this one. I've got one nick that you may be able to pick up on that I bought it with. See right there? So that was the one little nick in there that I bought it with, but not a huge deal for me at all. But just check, you know, because it is titanium, just check it over really quick if you are going to go used. But like I said, I've had a titanium watch in the past, and this one's way more bulletproof than that one. So I think whatever their patented proprietary polishing work does really makes this thing tough. So it's an awesome dress watch. I'm super excited about it. Anyways, guys, if you have any questions, please put them below, and thank you for watching.